Alright guys, hello again. I'm Lark Wyll. This will be my second video I'm doing tonight. And what the goal of this video is going to be is going to talk about three things that I think would help out Marvel Strike Force in a time where they don't have a lot of content to keep us occupied. And kind of game improvements that I would like to see that I think would be good QOL. Game mode kind of adjustments that people would find interesting, be more engaging than what we currently have, and would be relatively simple. We'll talk about that, but I don't think would be a major effort on Boundless Scopely's side to improve kind of QL and the enjoyment we have daily playing the game to log on to. So first, I'll talk about RTA because I'm kind of here, and then I'll kind of go to them just to kind of spit them out so I don't forget. I'm going to be talking about an RTA adjustment slash blitz, a war adjustment, and the third one is a PvP tournament. And I'll talk about those probably in that order. So the adjustment I'd like to see in RTA, this one is probably the least likely to ever have. They're all probably pretty low likelihood, but I'll explain why. Maybe we can get some, I don't know, get the drum beating a little bit for one of these, maybe something, or some kind of other idea that you guys have. Everything else, maybe this conversation just helps people like get a conversation going about, and what can we do that's reasonable to improve game modes, to provide more content that's enjoyable for people to log on to and spend their time. That isn't arduous, isn't tedious, those kind of things. And I think that's, to be fair to the Scopely, I think that's what they were tending to with Real-Time Arena. They were trying to say, okay, we don't have a lot of time for game development, so with our current battle system and development, how can we spin that, or like, you know, put lipstick on a pig and frame it a little differently as a new game mode. And that's how RTA came about. So I want to give them credit. I think they were trying to be creative within the confines of their ability to create game content, which isn't very strong, and they came out with this. I do think it was a big miss, but what I would probably do with RTA and specifically the Battle Pass, I think the main intention of this was we were getting a little bit tired of doing Blitz Sim. So I think one idea, at least for me guys, would be to tie this back to Blitz. But for a whole host of reasons, I don't think this is going to happen. And I was never a heavy blitzer, and I'm not trying to like get Blitz to come back to the game, but I'd prefer Sim Blitz or an option to manual Blitz. I still prefer that in a way to RTA. The main fix I would like to see them, if it wasn't a game mode change, just for the time being, even though it wouldn't improve my enjoyment of the game, but just to get through it faster, is in RTA, when you launch a match and you're going to fight one, guys, I would like to see the fights just, and I can quit out, so I'll load a team in here, guys. Let's load this top one, and then what else have I been running? But yeah, I would like to see the opponents not take a lot of time. So I'd like to see that you load in a fight and boom, that's the fight, and it's going to go really quickly, and you're in and out very fast. I don't want to wait for my opponents to take turns anymore. I would like the rounds to go quickly and just bang them out. I think that would be the number one thing. So if it was not going to be a complete game mode change and overhaul to this system, and I think a lot of people would enjoy this mode more and stop complaining. Like, you know, I complain a lot about RTA. I hate waiting on other players to take a move. I find it frustrating to no end. And every time I have to wait 60 seconds for a player to take their move, for whatever reason, it doesn't time them out and kick over to auto, it drives me nuts. I usually quick out of the fight or just pound the table. It just frustrates me. Pound the table is a little exaggerated, but like in my mind, I'm like, ugh, I'm like steaming. So you guys kind of get it. So this is a big punch up, guys. I can win this easy if I actually try to fight it. You know, just ability block anti-venom, take him out of the fight, they fall down. And I'll do this for you guys really quickly. But otherwise, other than that, guys, what I would do is I would change it so that maybe if they're not going to do something like that to where they're fixing the mode and we're not actually having to wait on other players, like I'm faster than him. That's another reason why I like this team, is because I don't have to wait on them to take turns. I'm faster. I go first. I take all my turns, and now I'm waiting on him. So he still hasn't hit auto. He might time this out for like a minute and a half. And you know, this sucks. Like even right now, my fresh, I'm like, I don't want to wait for you, buddy. This fight's over. It's a done deal. Hit auto, quit out. I don't care. Like, why do I have to wait like 10 seconds, 20 seconds, whatever this is, it's too much. It doesn't feel good. And this is the number one fix they need to fix in RTA. It isn't matchmaking. It isn't introducing leagues. It isn't anything else. They have to fix it so that way if a player isn't taking a move within like 10 seconds, it has to kick over to auto. And if they want, they can reclaim it like, once or twice. And if they don't take a move within another 15 seconds or 10 seconds, it has to lock them out and they lose all control, so they can't troll you. And then, just make it go to max time. Because there are also players that'll they get off on the ability to troll you, just like in MMOs. They're going to do things, so, player kill and such. Not to say that they're bad people, that's part of the MMOs, but that's part of these games. Like, it just is. Like, some people just get off on, you took this troll team, I took this cancer team against him, and he's trying to go for like city bio traits or whatever. He's like, dude, you brought this complete cancer team versus me. I'm going to make your life hell. I know players like this. I've seen them in Discord. They admit to it. They say, yeah, if you bring in Zemo, I'm going to time you out. That's just their MO. Like they're saying, like, if you're going to screw me, I'm going to screw you and make you take 2 minutes. So we got to get away from that in RTA. That's the number one fix RTA needs, is to make these fights go very fast, and then they won't feel tedious. They won't feel frustrating. So if from a realistic standpoint as to how they can fix RTA, I just loaded this fight. I didn't pre-watch this or record it and load into this video. This is the fight that I loaded number one on this stream while I'm actually talking through this. This is completely ad-lib. It's the first one, and actually it's probably my worst one of the night. I've already completed my RTA stuff, but this is the worst one I've had. So they weren't all like this. I'm not trying to say this is like very, very common, but this happens at least once or twice a night every time I'm going through RTA. And I don't know why these. What is the point? Even if they haven't loaded into the game, even if they're not loaded into the fight, guys, and like their game's lagged out, they've gone out of Wi-Fi. I don't care. Like, who cares? Don't make everyone else wait for them to get back into the game. Just, they can load another match. It doesn't matter. Like, they need to get a better internet connection or something. It's not fair to other players to. I'm just gonna hit on auto, guys. I don't really care about the outcome here, but it's not fair to other players to have to wait and have their game experience be tortured or made to feel like crap because somebody on the other end, some Cheeto licker, is not playing the game. Like, that makes no sense. Why are we subjected to this every night? Every single day we play in perpetuity Marvel Strike Force, we have to wait for players to play. Literally, guys, and I'm not threatening this one like that, but I literally could not play Disney Sorcerer's Arena because of one game mode. There's a lot of things I didn't like about the game. Like, it was fine, but there's a lot of good qualities about it as well. But Disney Sorcerer's Arena, I literally could not play it because they had a system. I think it was intentional for like game metrics, but they made you play their PvP or arena system on 1x speed. It's like chugging molasses or super glue, and like just shoot me. Just freaking shoot me with a shotgun. I'm not going to sit there day after day and play these required matches for your daily objectives on 1x speed, and they literally take 5 to 10 minutes per match because they're so slow. And then if your opponent doesn't take a turn, it's even longer. But like watching them run across the map like this, and that matters, guys. That's a quality of life thing. It does matter how quickly we can get in and out of RTA. So my number one fix for RTA is actually that. I was going to go in a different direction, but it's that. If as I say, one thing that would make me love, or not love, but like RTA a hell of a lot more, and stop bitching about it. Stop making me wait. Stop making player A wait on Cheeto Licker B to take moves. Time them out. I mean, not like suspend them from RTA. I don't care. Like, no one, the players that are playing and stuck playing them, we don't care if they're timed out. That doesn't matter to us. Just force them on auto. If they take manual override again, wait 10 seconds more. And if they don't make another move, then hard lock them out of having any control of the fight, and then completely auto fights it on their end. And then I'm good. Like, if you want to waste 20 seconds of my time, your load time's that much anyways. It takes 20 seconds to load a fight. Another 20 seconds isn't going to kill me. But if you make me sit at the screen for a minute and a half, draining my battery for some jerk to not take a move, or some guy just that walked away from his phone because, again, the load screen takes for so long, he might have had a hard time finding matchmaking. It might not be a jerk, just might be busy. Get distracted. Let me put it that way, guys. We're all multitasking in the background a lot while we're playing the game, guys. Your kid might come up and ask you something, or the wife, and you have to walk away from your phone. It happens. But still, don't make other players wait for that. So distractions are going to happen, guys. People are going to walk away from their phone. let me color it differently. It's not just jerks. It's just life happens, right? So if life happens, don't hold the other player hostage and prisoner, waiting on the other person to come back when they're talking to their wife about their budget for the month. Like I don't know what we're doing in the game. Like I don't think a daily grind like this, like Blitz should have never become a PvP thing. They're completely different things. PvP is usually short and sweet and very not redundant. It's supposed to be like very fast. And now we've turned PvP into a daily grind mode. We're doing a large quantity of it. And that means unless you have very strict time restrictions on how much lag time there is going to be, there's always going to be a heavy frustration because you're wasting people's time. You're wasting player A's time while player B is doing something else and is distracted. So I'm not a fan of this content in general, which gets me to my other aspect of what I think they should do. Until they come out with leagues and actually competitive tournament style or something else like that for this RTA, which I don't think they have any plan for it, and they've admitted that they're trying to figure out what the hell to do with this. It's just attach the battle pass, pull it from RTA, can RTA for the time being. It's because I don't want to wait on other players, guys. I just don't. So until you're going to fix that, I don't want to play RTA. It doesn't matter what objectives I have. It's not interesting to me. I don't think it's interesting to most players, especially hang-in players. I love PvP, but that's not PvP. There's no interaction. There's no draft and ban. It's not interesting. But Blitz. So if you're going to redo any kind of thing, if you're not going to adjust the parameters of you're going to force me to wait on other players to take turns, I'd rather you just can RTA altogether. If you fix it, I'm okay with RTA. Honestly, I don't care about it, but I'll just bang it out. And at that point, it's the same time as Blitz Sim and going through a Blitz rotation, so I'm cool with it. So that'll be my preference. But if you're not going to do that, it's too difficult for Scopely to adjust the parameters of how the max time, like 5-10 seconds max. Kick those people on auto if they're not taking a turn. But if they don't want to do that or can't technology-wise for whatever reason, then just can RTA. I don't care about it. Get rid of it. And then move the battle pass over to Blitz Sim and manual Blitz. And then give people that are going to do manual Blitz more faster progress towards their monthly objectives and daily objectives. And then let us just do Blitz, because I don't want to wait on people. So if I'm going to just load a bunch of redundant fights I don't care about, might as well be back in Blitz Sim or just Blitz, and then I don't have to wait on people. And then it's faster on my time. I can bang it out. There's no frustration. I can pick matches up. I don't have to face cancer teams like I run nonstop because I want to make it fast. You don't have to face the Surfers, Emo, Kestrel stuff nonstop. And whatever it is. And I know there's bans in RTA, but I'm going to use the most cancerous speed burst, blow your team up team I can possibly think up, no matter what the bans are. So whatever the bans are, I'm going to pick the next worst thing that you hate. And not because you hate it, but just because it's fast on me to get done with my objectives and the KOs and get it over with. So I'd rather play with the KOs. I want to make it as fast as possible, get in, get out, because RTA is not enjoyable. So just let's bang it out. So if we're not going to do the time constraints, guys, I'd rather just have Blitz back, can RTA until Leagues comes out. That's my suggestion. And attach the battle pass to this. And I think people would like it more. A lot of people just hate PvP altogether. Then if you introduce it back to a PvE mode like Blitz was, even if you're not going to have new characters in here, which is the reason why I don't think they're going to reattach RTA to Blitz, is because they're getting away from new character releases in Blitz. I think that's pretty obvious. So this would be my probably second preference as the way to fix RTA for the meantime. But I think from Scopely and Boundless' side, I can understand that they don't want to do this because from a profitability marketing standpoint, they're moving their character releases to the Strike Pass and Battle Pass, and they're getting away from Blitz releases, or at least they're testing that to see if we'll buy them. Because there's, let's be honest, the last 2 or 3 months, there hasn't been very many characters in Blitz that most players, especially if you're middle or end game, you give two snots about. You don't. All right, so number 2, fixing war. I've been thinking about it for a while, and I think other players have come up with it. I definitely didn't originate this idea, guys. Higgy in my alliance actually suggested it. I've thought about it before, but a lot of people put a voice to it. So I'll just call out Higgy because he wrote that in our chat today, and I actually agree with it 100%. I love war. It's the only reason why I still play this game, guys, to be honest. I don't care about a single other mode in this game. Arena's okay. I do it, but I really don't care too much about Arena either. I just do it because it's the next best thing. But like, I don't care for raids. They're very redundant, and it's just not for me. The modes of content I like in this game, if I was going to rank them, were going to be war, the old draft PvP, which is my number 3 thing I'll get to in a second, and they pulled the plug on that. That's not even active game mode, guys, and really has very little interest in the game because there's no rewards, and it's, it took a while to draft. And then number 3, Arena is okay. RTAs is pretty much garbage. Dark Dimension, I think it's a complete money grab. They make it as frustrating as possible and as difficult, arduous, and just painful as possible, so you buy as much gear to build up your rosters and spend just absolute irresponsible amounts of monies just to get a character that's already out of the meta, isn't game breaking, and then every other that's like odd DDs have a new character, even DDs don't have a new character. So like DD1 and DD3 did I have that right? Sorry, even ones have a new character, odd ones don't. So the odd ones don't even have a new character. It's like you're just doing for roster progression, but like you're spending thousands of dollars for a roster progression that's not worth, it's worth pennies, and we're spending thousands. So it's like it's just a complete gimmick just to make people spend like oodles of money irresponsibly. And hey, if you're into it for entertainment purposes, go ahead. But like these nodes are, I know a lot of people like DD4 more than DD3, but there's some nodes in DD4 that are complete bullshit. They are garbage. It is not fun. It isn't interesting. There's no puzzle about it. It's just, did you bring, is your team like 7 red stars across the board? Do you have 5 characters at 6 or 7 red stars across the board? And then did you bring these exact 4 or 5? So the puzzle is if you have the exact characters you need and 7 red stars. But this Emma on node 12, sorry, this is Emma? I think I got through Emma already. The Emma on node 12, she was okay. I didn't like her a lot, but I got through that in a few turns. I think I'm on my 5th attack of my 2nd pass. But this last wave with all this stuff is a bunch of nonsense. And like node 12's that way. Node 6 or node 9 has a couple. I'm 14 days in on my 2nd lap, so I'm not at a world-beating pace, guys. But some of these nodes, it's like every 3rd node is a complete cancer fest. It is not enjoyable. It's meant to just be as brutal and as frustrating as possible. They force you to use certain characters like in City, and then they're going to use like a bunch of cleansers just to hard counter what, like they know you're only going to be able to bring in a few characters, and then they're going to place all of the characters that are hard counters to it. Same thing that they do in raids, guys. This is why I don't like raids at all. You get into the Doom raid, and then what they do if you're, I think Bio's already cleared, it looks like, or is this Bio? They make you face a bunch of massive offense downers and cleansers. So it's like the whole thing is, okay, we're going to blind your symbiotes. We're going to try to ability block spread. We know you're going to bring in symbiotes, so we're going to give you symbiotes to fight because they can keep up with you. And then we're going to cleanse everything and hit you for massive damage from Electro because she's only good when she's stronger than the team she's attacking. And she hurts really hard and gives offense down. So and that way you can't ramp up with Carnage and bleed stacks of your own to get people below 50% health and start getting speed. Anyways, it's not enjoyable, guys. I think a lot of people like the elements of this. I do like progressing and getting better, and I'm not gonna say this is the worst or I hate it or anything like that, but like everything in this game is designed to be as frustrating as possible to introduce the least amount of content as possible. So that way, it's really just a collecting characters game, and then buy gear to build your roster. It's a roster builder game, guys. It's not a content game. It's just a character collection and roster building. It's really just the whole game is your roster. That's what this game is. And like I want it to be more. I want it to be about PvP and game modes and actual content. But they don't want to produce content because it actually takes time and effort and money. They just want to release new characters and have you build them up and buy all the stuff. And I can understand that. That makes sense from a marketing profitability standpoint. It's the way to go. But this doesn't feel like a game. It feels just like, you know what this feels like to me, guys? And I was thinking about this last week, and it's funny randomly I'm thinking about it now again. What Marvel Strike Force feels like to me the last year, literally the last year, not like the last couple months, the last year, is it feels like you're a golfer who shops, like you spend like all weekend shopping for golf clubs, golf apparel, cleats, whatever they call them. I don't golf, guys. I'm not a golfer. And all that crap. So you buy all the stuff you need to go golfing, and then you go up to the golf course, and they say, "Hey, Greg, we sent you a memo." My name is Greg, guys. The golf course is closed for renovations. We're shut down for the month. But you said, okay, no problem. Yeah, I just want to buy the gear just to have it. I like looking at it anyways. Yeah, actually, I can't afford your membership. I'm actually not a member here at your golf resort or club, and I don't plan on buying one because I don't want to for whatever reason. But I just want to have all the gear, and that's kind of what. Not say that people other. I'm sorry. Now I'm going to get out some of my narrative, guys. Not to say that other people can't buy the resort pass or the club membership, but say like that's what this is, guys. It's like you're buying a lot of golf gear, but you have no intention of. You can't play golf. That's what I'm getting at. You can't play golf. Like the golf course is closed, but you bought all the gear anyways. And that's kind of what we're doing the last year, guys, is we're buying all these characters and all this stuff for our roster, but there's nothing to do with it. It's just the same stuff. It's kind of like you keep buying and renovating your roster bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, presumably to compete with people. But there's only a couple things to do with your roster in the game. You're competing in arena, everyone knows that. You compete there. You're competing for raid milestones, which I think was a good idea that they put in to give raid more importance, because the raid orbs are complete garbage. They have terrible ROI. They give you like 5.5 pieces per orange orb. They're hot garbage and always have been, because they don't want us to advance our rosters. And so I like that they introduced the Silver Surfer Shards to the raids, because I think they gave raids more importance. Before, I actually never cared about them. The rewards for the season rewards for the longest time were always garbage and not worth worrying about. And the structure of the payout cutoffs made no sense. And the orbs were always really negligible. But now with the Silver Surfer Shards in those, I do think they've gotten better. Every time they release a new raid, guys, this is just their Scopely's MO, is they always release it with rewards that are worse than what you're able to get from the last raid in highest tier you're doing before. That is like 5 to 10 times easier than the new raid. So I've always just thought raids were just, I'm not saying that you don't want to advance and do the best you can, but I always thought it was an over-investment and not as important in the game. And I always just preferred, I was going to do raids, and daily. I'd rather just bang them out. I kind of miss the old U6, U7.5 days or U7.1 days, where you could just like knock them out, hit auto, and just burn through them. I don't have to watch my phone. I know some people like to do raids, and I can understand there's nothing else to do in the game really outside of war days. So I can understand why raids are valuable and people like them, because really that's all there is to do in the game. Raids are pretty much the only daily content we have right now, guys. RTA is not content. You can't stream it. There's not much to talk about. It's not interesting. There's not much interaction, and most of it's just frustration. I'm usually just beating up on somebody, or else I'm getting beat up on because they make me use some trash trait to fill a daily requirement, and it's not competitive in a PvP format, so I just get obliterated. Even if it's strong power or not, they're too slow and they don't do anything, so it gets blown up. So it's not a good mode. PvP is usually for PvP. So what I would like to see for, get back to Alliance War, guys, to my number 2 thing, I would like to see Alliance War, sorry I went on a long tangent there. I'd like to see, and Higgy suggests this, I'd like to see Alliance War be a 2-hour to 3-hour thing. I like to be really fast. I think 2 hours is a really good number. Instead of this full day event where like I'm in zone 1, I've been in zone 3 too, but whatever zone you're in, hopefully my preference would be they collapse it to like, okay, so a couple things in a war. I think they should collapse it to 2 time zones. 2 time zones only. That's it. 2 choices. We need to start merging alliances and get them all in there so the matchmaking's better. So there should be 2 time zones, one for like Euro and Asia's and one for like the States, and that is it for time zones. And outside of that, the main thing I think they should do is I think we need to get away from this 24-hour, every 3 hours and 45 minutes, whatever the hell it is, you get an energy. I think that stuff is for the birds. I think we're all tired of it. I know they want their login metrics, but they need to find it in other ways. I'm be honest, guys, most of us are logging in around the clock anyways for raids. I don't think we need to do it for war just to log in. We're going to log in to do our raids or do other things, check and just look at our roster. We just are trained that way. I don't think if I mean, war itself is only going on 3 days a week anyways. It's not 7 days a week. So, well, I guess it's 6 days if you include the start day and the end day for some Like, so for mine, it is you start it one night and then you finish it the next morning. But for like zone 3, you start in the morning and finish it the same night, so it's the same day completion start. But it kicks off 3 days a week. So it's only 3 days a week that you're actually even doing war. So for the other 4 days a week, on average, you're really just logging in throughout the day for raids. And then, for the server reset to buy the shop. So you're logging in for the shop resets. So for most of us, we're going to log in anyways for the shops because we want to buy the stuff from the shops. That's what we're trained to do. So you don't need I don't know what purpose the 3 hour and 40-minute energy reset has. I don't get it. It's just like an overly long, drawn out thing, completely artificially and for no good reason. That it's there. And they just don't like to talk about war. They don't want to like really do adjustments to war. I've heard like a little bit of chatter, but it's like I think Cerebro even addressed it. Hey, is there going to be any adjustments to like room layout or max teams per room? Like people brought up those ideas, and I'm not even in favor of those. I don't necessarily want room layout changes or more defensive teams. I don't want the wars to go longer. I want the wars to be faster, more intense, and just get on with our day. So I like them to be like an hour or two max, like 2 hours max, and the war's over. And then I want them to be a sprint. And I think that would be more exciting, more streamable. Like right now, you do some fights, and then you have to wait 3 hours and 50 minutes. You can't stream that. Can't talk about it. It's hard to capture it. And like you start the war, and then you finish it like 16 hours later or 10 hours later. Usually they're 10 or 11 hour wars, guys. But at any game, but it doesn't feel great. So like I think it's almost like, I don't know, it's kind of like a baseball game where like you play 3 innings, okay, come back tomorrow, play 3 more innings, okay, in the morning, and then come back in the night tomorrow, and then play 3 more innings. For most alliances guys are in end game, so they're probably going the full length of the 24 hours. So that's why I said it that way. If you're an end game alliance, you're probably doing a 10-hour war. So it's basically doing 3 innings of baseball. When the war kicks off, 3 more innings of baseball, like 6 hours later. It's a strange dynamic. I don't know why it's so like charted out like that. I think originally they were worried probably about time zones and people being able to log on and participate in the war. But especially if you have 4 time zones, 2-hour war slot, give everyone max energy to buy all their attacks and just full sprint. And then people let the alliances figure out who's going to be able to log on where. And then we'll readjust our rosters and our players for the alliances based upon participation and when people can play. And then we'll pick the best time zone for them and all those kind of things. But it's still better than what we have now. Is every 4 hours you log on and make an attack. It's just weird. It's also, in a way, tedious and like completely unnecessary. And I don't think anyone prefers it. I don't know who prefers this from the player side. I know the game might have their own reasons for wanting that, the metrics. From the player side, I think war should be a 2-hour thing now, max, in a full sprint. And then whoever wins the most matches or whoever's defense is still standing wins the war. But put a 2-hour cap on it, give everyone max attacks right out the gate or the ability to buy to max. Like, 6 free and you can buy up to, or 7 free, you can buy up to, I forgot what the max thing is, but whatever the max is. Just allow us to go hard. If you want to still sell it, you can figure out how many attacks we get free and we can buy up to a certain amount. But we should be able to buy at least up to 9, because 9 usually is a 1 war. And then past that, if it goes like, maybe like every 30 minutes you get an extra attack, they can figure it out. But truncate, we need to really condense the amount of time in war and really make it sync up so it's not so long. That would be my main idea for war, guys. I think that would be helpful. Again, I heard this from Higgy and other players, on Reddit and such. I think it's a really good idea, and I think a lot of people would appreciate that. It'd take less overall time, but more condensed period of time, and it'd be really intense action and fun, very streamable. People could get into it, and they could also just have a set block of time, do the activity they need in the game, and then move on to other activities, and not have to keep coming back to the game. Because I think a lot of people don't like having to log in so many times when they're doing family stuff and other things, and they find it kind of a pain in the butt. And I can get where they're coming from, especially if you have a family and you have other obligations. you don't want to be on your phone playing a game so much. So it'd be nice if we only had to do that for like a store refresh and didn't have to log on for like required game content, specifically war. I love war, but I can see how that's hard on families. All right, the last thing I'm going to talk about, guys, is the PvP. I think what we should have, guys, is a daily PvP tournament. So when you go to this verse battle, and like we get into this, I know a lot of people don't like this, guys, which is the draft format, either the classic or the balanced draft, and it can completely be voluntary. But I think there should be daily drafts running pretty much either around the clock or else like at a set time at server reset for like 3 hours. They should just kick off a bunch of tournaments, and then just let people voluntarily sign up for them, and either give them participation progress towards the strike pass or the battle pass for participating in it. Is streamable content. People that like the mode was an enjoyable mode. I know a lot of people don't. The majority of the people didn't care for this. And I'm not saying you have to attach a lot of rewards to it, but it'd be nice if they made like 12-man tournaments and made that daily content for us to participate in either strike pass or battle pass as an option. I think this is something that's what they've already designed. It's already in the game. It would require a lot of work, and they could just put it in a tournament fashion. Don't have to attach a reward store if you don't want to, because I know people didn't like it when it was required, because they felt it was required when there's rewards attached. But I think the people that liked it and really were fans of it, like myself, we don't really care if there were rewards attached or not. I just like playing it. But now it's like we can't get into play because there's it does take a while, but it's hard to like really gather. So I created a Discord channel, and I'll kind of link it in the video when I post this. But I know a lot of people have like Discord channels and those kind of things, but it's really hard to organize and keep interest in this. So I think if the game actually helped do that actually through the game format, and people could just say, hey, yeah, I've got 20 free minutes, let me hop into a tournament and then just launch a few of these. I think more people would do it just for like idle time. Like, and then the people that don't want to play it, there's no reward, so you don't have to. And then only the people that are really like interested by the mode would sign up and do that. And all the new characters can be used in here, and Kestrel will be really interesting to talk about. Silver Surfer to do the draft format, and the people that aren't interested, they can completely pass. But this would be like an alternative for us to do content either for progress for the strike pass or the battle pass. That's my idea. At some point, if they want to do like tournaments where like there's a big reward and they put it out there, like I think another cool thing you could attach to this would be like tokens for skins or tokens for the dark promotion credits. I think this would be a good avenue to create those things. So if you want to get for Ultron, dark promotion credits as a reward for like winning a tournament, or you win a match in here, you get a certain amount of tokens, or you get a certain amount of credits for skins, anything. I don't think it has to be like, it could be completely artificial stuff that gives progress. So like I think skins would probably be the best thing they could put in here, because it's not anything that would help improve rosters that people would feel like they're missing out on and have to do it. But if people wanted skins, they could. I don't really care about the skins currently. I know there's going to be better skins that come to the game. I'm just thinking of ways that could revitalize the mode, could give it interest, but not make people feel like it's required content that they're going to fall behind if they didn't participate in. So those are just some ideas, but I think at the very least, just introduce it in a tournament format running daily. Because oftentimes right now, guys, there's very little content or stuff to do in the game. It's not a very exciting game to play right now. It's kind of like in a dead space. I feel like this is something that's already in the game. They could help fill it up and give the game life, and they could just put like a little banner up saying like Monday night tournament, and there's even if it's only for bragging rights, and you get like a little memo going, hey, John, I say this guy's name is Hulkbuster. Hulkbuster won the tournament, tournament number 5. Congratulations, Hulkbuster. And a lot of people get off on that. It's like little burst of like positive feelings. You get excited about seeing your name in the game. I think that would be kind of cool for people. I wouldn't necessarily play for bragging rights. I just find the mode interesting. But a lot of people do like seeing, getting that thrill, and I think that'd be interesting for people to do. And it's already in the game. Wouldn't require a lot of game development other than some an overlay, a couple announcement banners. The main kind of stuff that would be difficult to or take time for them. If they want to attach rewards to it, they would have to code those things, so that would take some time. But otherwise, it would just be a tournament bracket and setting up so we kick off, and then that kind of thing. It'd basically be the same thing as like what they already have. You know, the balancing classic draft already there. You just have to put it in tournament format, and I think that'd be pretty neat. So, anyways, guys, those are my ideas for quick things and easy to improve the game. They wouldn't require a ton of game development or heavy amounts of tech engineering on their side to develop. Most of it's already here. They just have to tweak it a little bit. Again, just to summarize, RTA, number one thing, don't make player A wait on player B. 5 to 10 seconds max. Put every single player, whether they connect to the mode or not, on autoplay. And if they take it off autoplay and take another 10 seconds, then force them out of that, and they can no longer take any action in the game. In that fight, in the match, and that way the other player isn't held hostage. That'd be my number one quality of life fix for real-time arena. That'd be very simple to do. The other idea I had on RTA and Blitz was more complex, but I'll leave it at that. Number two, for war, make it a 2-hour war. Thank you, Higgy, for the suggestion. I think that's a really good suggestion. Get these away from a 24-hour long marathon. Just make them a 2-hour sprint. I think people would like that a lot more. It doesn't take too much time. And then the war leaders aren't having to orchestrate the war for 10 to 24 hours. It's too much time, too much logging on and clicking rooms and all that stuff for the war leaders. Have a heart for the captains. I'm not one, but man, oh man, do those guys give up a lot of time communicating, clicking, highlighting which room to attack, all that stuff. Make it easier on these guys. 2 hours, bing, bang, boom. People would definitely thank you for that. It would be a major improvement in war. Give them max attacks and let us just run through it. And then number three, guys, like you saw, was the PvP or draft tournaments. Just have daily tournaments going on for content in the game. You've already developed the mode. It's already there. You don't have to attach rewards to it. Just make it voluntary. Put it in the game. Attach little daily or nightly tournaments. Kick them off. People could actually use your characters. It's another way to have fun in the game. Use the characters you're trying to sell us. Let us enjoy those characters like Kestrel and Silver Surfer in more modes of content that you've already developed, and we'll have fun doing that. RTA is not hitting that mark, but PvP, a draft tournament, would. And kind of seeing your name, hey, again, Hulkbuster won the tournament. I think people would really like that feeling. And actually, if you had the banners going off, it actually would kind of make this kind of ribbon of like content here kind of come alive. If there was like a banner going up across the top saying like a constant tournament's going and winners, it'd be like an advertisement for your own game and make it feel more exciting. It'd feel alive. That's the word I was going for. It would make the game feel more alive and like, hey, there's this constant tournaments running. What am I missing out on? I keep seeing people, winning up there. Like see a lot of other games when a certain player like rolls a 7 red star. We kind of have it in our alliance chat where it says like, again, Iceman pulled it says right here. Boy Howdy has pulled 6 red stars for Iceman. So you get it for your alliance. So you just do the same thing up top with like a blinking or flashing or like a rolling ribbon. Boy Howdy is won tournament number 3. Congratulations, Boy Howdy. And that would go a long way, and it would make your game feel alive while we're waiting on larger forms of game content to be released. But those are ideas for how the game could be improved now, guys, without a large amount of effort on Scopely's side. I don't know why they buried draft PvP and classic draft. I've heard, I think OMG or Mobile say that they couldn't monetize it, so they killed it. But man, oh man, that doesn't sound great. And just because you can't monetize something doesn't mean it shouldn't be in the game. Like not every game mode has to be monetized. Like the challenges, they're not a game mode. Oh, I guess they are because we originally had to beat these, but this isn't necessarily being monetized. I guess we have to build up our team somehow. So you could say we invested game resources, some of which I'm sure people spend to do this, but people are going to spend money to build up your roster for a draft PvP as well because they want to be the best. So there's still like a monetary like incentive to build your roster in that mode. But yeah, I don't know why it had to be monetized. You've already done the development. I don't think you have to develop it more. Just reintroduce it into a tournament fashion. Don't attach rewards to it, and people will play it. And it wouldn't be a large portion of the player base. I'm sure it'll only be like 1 to 5% of the total player base would play it without rewards. But it still gives more content to your game, and it's not required. And that would go a long way to drive enthusiasm, and keep people, like, again, active, logging into your game, spending more time in your game, and it would give people something to do other than complain, which I do plenty of. Guilty of that, and it would give us something else to do, and that's the main thing, guys. Because right now, Marvel Strike Force, for me, guys, it just feels like it's 95% just a roster collection. Let me look at my roster. That's what this feels like. And there's other games like Marvel has where it's just literally collecting like photo cards on digitally on your phone, and it's like a kind of like a baseball trading card game, but for your phone, but for like Star Wars and Marvel characters. They have it for like everything: baseball, football, Star Wars, Marvel. I used to like the art, so I tinkered around with them for a little bit, but I don't play them anymore. But that's kind of what this is, guys. It's just like, hey, Iron Fist is getting a rework, and let me see my power. And you just stare at your screen a lot. You kind of tinker around with the little knobs and buttons and gizmos over here, and kind of look at what you invest. And there's a resource management element of those, and those things are all like integral core parts of this game. But without actual game modes to use the characters in, really what it boils down to is all this stuff is irrelevant. All it really is, hey, the art's kind of cool to look at, and I can kind of move them around and tinker with them a little bit, and I can watch my roster grow. I can get it stronger. I can kind of talk about that with my alliance and such, and then I can see the characters I don't have unlocked yet and start strategizing as to how I can collect that character and what characters do I want to have, like really emphasize on to shape my roster. 90% plus of this game, since there's no content, is this in my mind. And that's not necessarily a horrible thing, guys, but what I would say is that's not a game. That's like a roster collector, and that's different than a game. Like a game to me means there's actually a game, like a baseball game, a football game. There has to be some kind of sport to it. And for Marvel Strike Force, I think 3 days a week, depending on matchmaking, you kind of have a game with Alliance War. Outside of that, guys, a raid is debatable. I think it's okay. It doesn't hold much attention, I'll be honest. Dark Dimension, I think, is I think it's just a cash grab, guys. That's how I'm going to state that without being more derogatory. I just think it's a complete cash grab. I think it's okay if you like it. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I think this is completely overemphasized as a mode that's enjoyable. I think for the most part, it's frustration mechanics incarnate. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So the game needs to have more fun brought to it, and I think new game modes are obviously that. But in the meantime, I think they can do just working with what they have a little bit better. They can bring a little bit more enjoyment and lower the frustration a little bit. Guys, I know there's a lot of bugs that come to the game, and people talk about bugs a lot. I talk about bugs quite a bit myself. But what I would say is the bugs are horrendous. They need to be fixed. It's terrible. They're just slow to even when the text of their characters is wrong, like Phoenix's percentage flat damage, it's still wrong. They don't go back and fix even the text, which I'm like, guys, just fix the text. You don't have to like change it, but just make it accurate to the kit, and we're good. But yeah, there's a lot of bugs. But honestly, guys, I think the bugs, even though they're so big and so major and such a screw up, the major failing of this game is there hasn't been new fun content, and there's not new game development. That's the major failing, and it's starting to just rub that there's all these battle pass, strike pass skins. Everything they introduce is just, and the price points are just getting out of hand. Like every other character is a $50 character release. Everything is completely sales, and there's no game. So it's just, I'm probably going to fill out Heroes for Hire because I already half invested into Colony Wing, so I'm like committed to buy the next gal. They look cool. I think they're going to be good. But I honestly, guys, with the game development not occurring, I think they need to do things like I'm suggesting or things like that to improve, because the bugs aren't killing the game. It's the lack of content that's killing the game, guys. And I think sometimes we forget, like, it's not the lack of roster development and the resource management issues, even though that's a major problem too. It's not the cash hurdles or the red star RNG. All those things are all ancillary, and they're always going to be there to a certain extent. And RNG sucks. I don't like it either. But the main thing that kills this game, guys, is it costs a very lot to buy the characters to just have their headshot in a roster collection screen, and there's nothing to do with them. That's the problem with the game. I don't want to say nothing. There's not enough. Let me stop being so exaggerative. There's not enough in the game to do with the characters that they're selling to us at a very hefty price point. Like I spent $100 on, this is my free will on Colony and Wing for war, but they need to start coming out with more modes for some of these characters because they can't all just be war characters. So we need to be able to use some of these characters outside of raid, arena, and war to find enjoyment with them. So that's my number one thing, guys, is they need to introduce, whether it's draft PvP tournaments or fixing RTA. RTA is gosh, man, that's a little one. I'm not sure why that one's still an issue. Why you're holding players hostage for 2 minutes waiting for an opponent to attack. I mean, RTA has been out for, gosh, 4 months, guys. I don't, why has that not been fixed? I don't understand it for the life of me. But yeah, those are some simple things. I think they would go a long way to just fill in some gaps here while we're waiting on larger, to buy them time to do the larger game development. Like War was took them a year or two to develop. I know they're probably working on something else in the wings to be a next large thing, and hopefully they are. I'll trust that they are. But in the meantime, they can introduce some small things that don't require a lot of game development to fill in those gaps to keep us kind of entertained and okay. Because right now, guys, most days when I log on, there is not a lot to do. I logged into Dark Dimension. Maybe it's because my team sucks in Dark Dimension on my second pass. But my fight this morning, guys, because this last wave is so hard, it's just so much front loader burst FU stuff right here. 222k. You want to guess how long that took? It took like 15 seconds to 20 seconds and kaput. I was done. That's not entertainment. That's not streamable. It's not enjoyable. It's just a whole lot of frustration. Come back tomorrow and I'll punch you in the mouth again. Okay, Dark Dimension, I see how it is. So yeah, I have a hard time calling it. It's so weird. Like I'll have like a 27 mil attack on number 1, 448k. Like that is such a different experience on one day compared to the other. Like one day you just completely go on a tear and like, hey, this is pretty good. I can play the game. It actually feels like a game. I can get into this. And the next day you're doing 448k damage or 222k damages. It just feels like you're waking up in the morning and your brother just kicks you in the nuts. It's like, I didn't need that. I'm good. I don't have to have that. I might as well not even done that. Like, you just don't even, like, why did I get out of bed? You know what I mean? It's like, I'm exaggerating, but it's like, it's such a quick, like, non-experience that it's, why are we even doing this? I don't understand. It's just basically like, it almost feels like, okay, it's going to take a certain amount of X days. You just have to wait 100 days and then we'll give you Doom. Okay, if you want to just do that, I don't know why we need to do Dark Dimension 4. I'll just wait 100 days and give it to me. I don't even know why we have to have this mode. So if it's just meant to take a long time, then just after a certain amount of days, just drop a gift package in my inbox and I'll collect Doom. So that's kind of like how my thought process of Dark Dimension. I'm probably a little bit more negative and contrarian on DD4. I know you could spend a lot to speed that up, guys, and there's ways to take shortcuts, but there's no ways to take shortcuts in there other than a hefty amount of money. You're not racing through there as a free-to-play player. I'm not saying you can do better than me. You could probably save more cores and buy a lot of extra attacks and do a little bit better in there than I am, but it's a long mode, guys. So I think we need more daily content, and I've gone on a long way, so I'm just going to end it here. Sorry for this one went so long, but maybe you guys like these ideas, maybe you didn't. If you have different idea, guys, because again, those are just my quick thoughts. If you have other ones that you think are better or can improve the game, not that are like, hey, I want this new Goliath boss mode that's just monstrous like Galactus, fills the full screen. I'm doing a boss fight. We all want that. We do. But that takes a lot of game development from their side. It's not something that they can just kind of plug in right away. I'm kind of more suggesting things that are more of like a light switch thing. Like, it's already there. Just hit the light switch, guys. It's like low-hanging fruit. That's kind of what I'm looking for to present to Scopely. So if you have some low-hanging fruit ideas, things that they can do to just and not just give us gold. I don't mean quality of life, but I mean game mode related low-hanging fruit that they can implement to make the game more enjoyable and more entertaining, other than just give us more free stuff. But from a game mode standpoint, that's kind of what I'm thinking about, guys. So if you guys want to suggest anything else, feel free to share it with your favorite content creator. Put it below in my comments. I like thinking about the game too. But appreciate your time and hope you guys have a great night. See you.